This is my moment of truth. It is time, once again. How did I do in the year of 2023 for palettes? How many did I add to my collection? So, I have the number here, and I think it's pretty good. And we're going to see how I compare it to last year. I don't think I overdid it, but we're going to go with it. So, let's see how many palettes I brought into my collection. Let's get started with the video. Hey guys, this is Ashley. Welcome on back to my channel. So as I just mentioned before, it is that time of year. It's right after the new year, and in my hopeful phase, I would like this video to go up on January 1st. That's how I planned it in my little calendar, but that might not happen because honestly, I don't get that many days off of work. I'm a retail pharmacist. Healthcare, it still keeps moving, even though it's the holidays. And so the time that I did have off of work, I'm enjoying it. I'm in these streets, okay? So, and I love filming. I love doing my end of the year wrap up videos, but I'm a little bit behind. So, this video might come a little bit later on in the week, but it's cool because we still got the 2023 stuff happening. So, like I said, this is how many in 2023, and I am so carried away. Let me go ahead and introduce myself. If you are new to this channel, welcome. And if you're oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashley. I have a doctorate in makeup. I have a doctorate in makeup. I have a doctorate in pharmacy. I could have a doctorate in makeup. That would be dope. Can I do my dissertation with Pat McGrath and Danessa? I would love that. But I have a doctorate in pharmacy. And, I love makeup. So that's how you get Dr. Ash and her makeup. But please just call me Ash or Ashley. So this is literally maybe my fifth year doing this video. I don't really remember at the moment. And I have my list over here on my other laptop. This is the busted girl that I use over here for the monitor. But we got the other one. I got my list. And so basically we are going through the palettes that I bought in the year of 2023, what I've included into my collection. Do I like them? Do I have any regrets? Do I regret buying these palettes? And how many did I bring in? Okay. And then at the end, we'll kind of wrap up to see how well I fared, against the other years. I know I've been trending downwards because I have so much makeup in my collection. Now, I will also mention the palettes that I've received as a gift or in PR. I do have them kind of highlighted on my list, but I'm going to show them to you because they did come into my collection. But when you talk about buying them, I didn't buy them, so, But let's be honest, if I didn't get it, I would be buying them, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. I actually have these in order of how they came into my collection this year. I try to kind of keep the list started at day one, okay? So I don't forget, and I did forget a few palettes at the end. I looked here, I was like, oh crap, let me throw these in here. So I got them in there, and then, we do have a couple palettes that have not come in yet from the pre-orders from Black Friday. And then one brand prior to Black Friday. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but let's just go ahead and get started because, we're going to be here for a hot little moment. But first up, we have the Adept Arrow palette, inspired by the television show Arrow. And I keep saying that this chick came in with a bang this year. This is a beautiful green tone palette. I love majority of everything about this palette except for a couple of the mattes, which I've talked about in previous videos. But would I buy this palette again? Absolutely, yes. I love this palette in my collection. It did come back one more time because this is limited edition, but this is such a beautiful palette. And I love some greens. And I had a great time actually mixing this with the Sumerian Sunset. If you haven't seen that video, maybe the looks were looking, okay? Then I received this particular palette in PR. This is the Blend Bunny Lure palette, okay? And I just love how this looks. And if I did not receive this in PR, yes, I would have purchased this palette, okay? So I am loving it. I think the color story is gorgeous. And I love some mints and greens with this. So I'm definitely going to be pulling it back out. I had a lot of fun pairing it with some of my other single shadows. I love that with Blend Bunny. Like, I will reach into all of my Blend Bunny palettes to do that. So this is the Lure palette. So we have number 3. So we're at 3 now that have come into my collection. And I have the Pat McGrath Velvet Liaison palette. So, you know, this palette I do like, and it's a matte palette. Been asking Pat McGrath forever for a matte palette, and finally got one, okay? Now, are the colors anything revolutionary? No. But it's a nice palette. I like it. And, you know, even though she was a little underwhelming for me this year, I do like this palette. I would purchase it again. Coming in at number 4, you will have to pry this palette out of my cold, dead hands. I love this palette. This is the Shroud Moon Fall palette. Oh my gosh, magic, like perfection. The best 9-pan palette, like one of the best that I have in my collection ever, hands down. And these aren't necessarily multi-chromes, but they're good old-fashioned foiled shadows. Remember foiled shadows before we had all the multi-chromes? And I love this. This is beautiful. The color story is everything. The performance, the price point wasn't that bad. I would absolutely purchase this palette again. Now, at number 5, we have the Adept Cosmetics La Cienega Boulevard palette. Well, La Cienega, I want to say, is a boulevard in California or in LA area. And I would purchase this palette again. This is definitely one of the most neutral palettes that we have by Adept Cosmetics. And I would say the mattes are matting. It's just like it filled in the holes with some of the other palettes where I just want to maybe use that shimmer as a bold shimmer. And I could pop one of these on the transition or in the crease. And I like it, and the shimmers are beautiful. This is not my favorite palette by Adept Cosmetics, but it was a solid release. I think I felt a little salty about it in the beginning because, of course, it was released with the mystery box, but I would pick up this palette again. All right, so we got palette number 6. And, you know, I really like this creator. I got a chance to meet her at the Creators and Friends event. This is the Old Eye Sea Talk palette by Lauren May Beauty. And unfortunately, I would not purchase this again. I was just so disappointed in the quality. And it has nothing to do with the creator, but something was just off when it came to the brand in this particular palette. Now, the color story was everything. So that's why I decided to choose it, pick it, because I was like, you know, this is really pretty. It's a little innovative. And I liked how she put this story together. It gave the sea without being so blue. You know what I mean? It gave you some neutral. It gave you a little pop. But something was just not right. So I would not purchase that again. All right, number 7. It's another palette from the collab. This is the Floor Story palette by Beauty. It's by Makeup Just for Fun, excuse me. And unfortunately, I wouldn't purchase this palette either. It's the same comments that I had about Lauren's palette. It's the same comments that I have about this one. It just missed the mark. I struggled. The only shade that I'm like really here for is this. And I made a really pretty look with it and everything. And I wore it to like a chapter meeting. And I got a lot of compliments, but like I said, I struggled during this video. So unfortunately, no, I would not purchase this again. All right, coming in at number 8, we have the Glamlight Chucky Crazy in Love palette. Like, first of all, look how dope this looks. I'm not even like a huge Chucky fan or horror movie fan or anything, but when Glamlight does a theme, they do a theme, baby. And so, what was this? Palette number 8. I would definitely purchase this again. And honey, look at the ventricular motion on the palette. And look, I hardly ever keep up like packaging, but I was like, unless it's Pat McGrath, but I was like, I'm keeping this. They're both so great, and the palette was affordable. I would definitely purchase this again. And look at this color story. I mean, look at the reds and the deep plums and the burgundies. It is such a great palette. I would definitely repurchase this again. All right, number 9, we have the Klarity Safari palette. I like this little baby, so I would repurchase this again. I think one thing that Klarity is very great at making very innovative stories, but I think because they're such a small business and that they do a lot themselves, I think they're like a team of 3. They're like coming up with the eyeshadow concepts, the stories, they're pressing the shadows and stuff. The only thing they don't do is like the packaging. I think sometimes like you order the palette and although they're not pre-orders necessarily, it just takes too long to fulfill the order. So like by the time I do a video, sometimes the hype is just kind of died down, but they have a great following. But I would definitely repurchase this palette. It's giving Safari on a different level. I'm loving the gray. I'm loving the brown, first of all, their shimmers are like top tier. You cannot beat a Klarity Cosmetics shimmer. Like, do you see this down? I will absolutely purchase this again. All right, followed up by the Klarity Bridal Party. I would definitely purchase this again. I did not do a video, but this is a beautiful, beautiful palette. Once again, the shimmers are shimming, okay? A nice kind of floral palette, kind of neutral but elevated shimmers. I would definitely repurchase this palette again. All right, number 11, we have the Sugar and Grunge palette. So this palette was sent to me in PR, so I did not purchase it. I never did a video on this palette, but I have used it. I did not do a video on this palette because literally when this palette launched, my grandmother had passed. And you know, I kind of took a break from YouTube this summer. So I literally got this palette like the week of her services. So I never got a chance to film it, although I wanted to. I thought I was going to be able to like push on and carry on and film during that particular time. And we're talking about this came out in July, the end of June, July. And I just was not with it. So this is a beautiful palette. I have used this in some looks. I've used this when I ranked my Blend Bunny Cosmetics palettes. So I did pull into this palette, but I definitely plan on like revisiting this palette when we get to like the springtime because it's beautiful, beautiful color story. And you know, I love me some Blend Bunny Cosmetics. So there will be a video on this soon, okay? I would definitely purchase this if I did not receive it in PR. Number 12 is coming in with the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Into the Night palette. And this is just a beautiful color story. And I appreciate how they have been pushing the envelope. They've been pushing their formula. And I also appreciate how they have reinvested in their business and they're not doing pre-orders anymore. It seems like they are able to function and just get the product out. So you do have to wait a little bit only because I'm in America, you know, and it is like a 2-week lag time with the shipping because it's coming from Australia. But this is a gorgeous palette and I really love it for this end right here. Oh my gosh, when I tell you I could not resist this little 6-pan palette. Like even if she just gave this to us in a 6-pan, I would be like, yes girl, I am here for it. So I would definitely repurchase this palette. All right, number 13, I call this the fault of Beauty and Friends, aka Kara, okay? We got Thomas here, as she would say, and this is the Electric Cherry. Now, it's not all her fault because I was looking at this palette. I know you're probably like, Ashleigh, this is a little understated for you, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful quality. I never did a video on it, but I love it. And I picked this up when we were in Vegas. So I actually picked this up from the Tom Ford store. So I had a chance to like swatch it in person and everything. And I picked up one of their Shade and Illuminate compacts. And this is beautiful. And although it was very expensive, I would repurchase this again. Number 14. Oh, she is expensive too. She's expensive, but I would repurchase her. This is the Adept Cosmetics Seahorse palette. Beautiful, beautiful shades. Now this is really, I think, how I would prefer to wear my pastels, mostly as shimmer shades, okay? But the shades transcend so well in this palette. So even if you put them with some deeper mattes and everything like that, they just kind of transform. Beautiful, beautiful multi-chromes. I don't think anything really looks too much alike in this palette. It looks like it might be one or two. It's like one shade, like I want to say I prefer this shade over this shade, and we might have that also with, I don't actually prefer this green, which is funny because I love greens, but the top row is just like chef's kiss. Like when I say tiger tail, giraffe, big belly, courtship. We also have like a swirl kind of rainbow shade, but not like her new style rainbow shades in here. The palette is gorgeous. I've had a lot of fun with this, and it kind of just sparked me. Well, I was wearing this prior to. I'm confused. All right, but I'm trying to figure out, like, was I feeling makeup when I wore this, when I bought this? Or was it like I reached for it afterwards? I think it was kind of middle. It was a lot going on during this time period, but I did have 2 videos on this because there was so many shadows. I definitely would repurchase that palette. Number 15 comes in with the Glamlight Hershey's Cookies and Cream. So I saw this palette and I was like, oh, it's cute. But then I saw Angie do some swatches with it, and Glamlight was having a sale. So I decided to pick up this palette because this is like really one of my favorite candy bars. I love the Hershey's Cookies and Cream. But besides that, Glamlight did their thing. Look at this beautiful cool tone color story. So yummy, so delicious. I mean, I have worn this palette a couple times. I didn't film with it, but beautiful, beautiful. And then look at the cherry on top. Do you see this packaging? Do you see this? Like, execution, and not even that expensive. You know, Glamlight does put out a lot, but I definitely say they are like ones to watch. I love this little baby. I definitely would repurchase that again. Number 16, yes. When I say another one, you will have to pry it out of my cold, dead hands. Well, first of all, I'm not trying to die anytime soon. I got a lot of life left in me, but I love this palette, and the tones are just so fiery. They're so opulent, and I heard one of my friends say that she felt like they kind of look the same. I don't get those vibes. No, now I know these 2 shades, they might have a little bit in common, but like all of the like fiery tone oranges, no, even these, no. And oh my God, we're gonna talk about some Tasha here. You know I love a good holochrome, and it's a holochrome with a peach flip. Honey, I absolutely would repurchase that palette. Next up, we have Glaminatrix Sugar and Spice, and this puts us at number 17. So I would repurchase this palette. It is a beautiful palette, and so the only thing about it for me is just that, and I've kind of done this with my critique, some of the pastels are just a little bit too pastel, i.e. these shades. But you know, everything in the palette can't be for me, but there's a lot for me. This works, that works. And then my only other really critical thing would be these 3 shades, because they're so gold. It's like they kind of all read the same. But if you were to take, for me, I would swap this shade out. I would put this shade over here, and this, we're going to include the purple. This side of the palette, but it was really this side that really made me buy the palette. But I would definitely repurchase this palette again. Number 18, another palette with the ventricular motion. I love this palette, and it made me like take a look at the brand and maybe repurchase from the brand. So I would repurchase this palette. Like I said, this is number 18, and this is the Nomad Cosmetics Ghost Town USA. Oh my gosh, what a beauty. So stunning. The color story, a cool tone dream, but still works really well on your skin if you have a warmer skin complexion like I do. The purples, the greens, the neutrals, the matte colors are interesting. They build out great. And the shimmers. These are nice, solid shimmers. So I definitely would repurchase this palette. Number 19, she was a gift, but if I didn't get it as a gift, ultimately, keeping it 100, I would want it, you know, in my collection. And I would purchase it. I would probably wait till it was like a little sale, to be honest. And this is the Pat McGrath Mothership 11. And I'm not going to lie, she was cute. She was really pretty. I did some really nice looks for it. I have used it. since, you know, doing my video. I'm not mad at it, but I am mad about how pink it is. Like, I'm still just gonna be mad. Like, why, ma'am? Why? Why you can't let the pinks and the mauves and the plums go? Let it go. Let it go. Can you transform yourself into Elsa in 2024? Please. Can we be a snow queen? Like, I would love that, you know? But this is number 19. So if I did not receive this as a gift, eventually I would have repurchased it. Okay. I would just wait for like one of the sales, you know. It is what it is. You know, it's so much doggone pink. I just don't understand. Like, girl, we get it. You love the color pink. All right. All right. So we got number 20. And this one, it's a little hard for me to say. I received this in PR, and you know I love me some Blends Bunny Cosmetics, okay? And I like the palette, and at the same time, I don't like the palette. So, but would I purchase this palette if it wasn't sent to me in PR? This is something I really struggle with because, honey, she's beautiful, but these tones, these mattes on my skin complexion, the only reason I like this is because we had darker shades that really did work really nicely. And I know you're like, okay, we're going to take the lighter tones and blend out the deeper, but I didn't really feel like that was an option in this particular palette. Like, she does a lot of, you know, pastels in her palettes, and it's not usually an issue, but I'm able to like use it as a lid shade, put it out. But these were just a little bit too white based. This one is like, I'm so on the fritz. I still don't even know. Like, so we're just going to put her all in a little section by herself. But I don't know. I don't. Number 21, I would repurchase this palette. This is the Eyeshadow Eye Jewels and Gem palette. And I purchased this later than when it came out. And I purchased it later when it came out because I looked at the color story and I was like, oh, it's beautiful, but I don't need this. Oh, it's beautiful, but I don't need this. And then this is probably another thing that I could just add in as to being Beauty and the Frizz's fault, because I saw her do her video and I was like, well, dog, that's pretty. This shade. And the reason why I was also on the frizz is because I did not have a good time using, you know, Lauren's and Beauty is for Fun collab. It was like the formula was off. So I was a little hesitant with Eyeshadow Eye, but I love this. It's a gorgeous palette. Once again, it's affordable. So I definitely would repurchase this palette. Number 22, we have the Klarity Cosmetics Lost at Sea. So I like this palette, but I've never used it. So I don't know. I can't tell you what I would do with this palette. Let's first of all, let's try to get it open. I don't know, to be honest. It's beautiful packaging. Mermaids were huge in the year of 23. But I mean, we know the shimmer's gonna shim. So I probably would repurchase this palette. I probably would. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that purple matte. The shimmers are gonna shim. Look at this one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little confused, but I'm just gonna say yeah, I would. Number 23. Yeah, I'm repurchasing her. She's a pretty penny, but I'm repurchasing her. Have her on my eyes right now. And I did film this look. You're going to catch it in the palette rotation. Beautiful, beautiful, well done color story. I tried to talk myself out of this palette. It was like $80-something. I really did. I was like, I don't need it. I have them. I have multi-chromes. But then I feel like everything I have in this palette is still different enough versus what I do have across all my other shimmer palettes and all my other, like, you know, single shadows. I love this. I would repurchase this again. Okay, yeah. She's bae. Love her, okay? Number 24, we're going to go with the Pat McGrath. This is Bijou Brilliance Lunar Nightshade palette. She's cute. She's beautiful. We're like, okay, we got a little something different. Would I repurchase this again? I don't know. I'm going to say no. I wouldn't. I've used it and I've used it off camera. I'll continue to use it. But in the grand scheme of things, if would I repurchase it again? No. And then we got 25. And then this is Bordeaux Bliss. Actually, I would repurchase this one again. It just don't even shoot me. I know it's pink and I know it's mauve and all of that stuff, but I actually would repurchase this one over the other one. And the other one was supposed to be a little bit more teal, but to me, it came off more silver, but I will repurchase this one again. Coming in at number 26, we have the Pretty Grunge palette. I would repurchase this palette. I love it. The mattes are great. The shimmer formula is nice. I'm trying to get it open. I said, thank you, Huda, for giving. I didn't like the Empowered palette from last year, but I love this one. And it's great. I took this with me to Vegas. I've worn this a few times. The neutrals are nice, even though they're a little bit more mauve tone. So look, okay, some of the mauve stuff, in other brands, fine. When Patricia does it, I'm tired, ma'am, okay? So that's how I justify some of these mauve tones. But they're deep and they're dark and the shimmers are nice. They're not doing too much. And the formula is just right because I felt like last year with the Empower palette, she was just doing too much and it just didn't go off right. We still do have like a cream shade, but this one's better because like you can lay it down on the base, pat the black eyeshadow on, get it to be deeper, same with the other one. So you have a lot of range with this palette. So I love it. Yes, I would repurchase this. Next up for 27, we have the Glaminatrix Rich Romantic palette. I would repurchase this. I think it is really beautiful. And this came out actually in the fall. And I've worn it a couple of times. I've gotten some really great looks. And the reason why it came out in the fall for us is because it's Australia's summer. So, you know, I feel like this is like the updated Modern Renaissance, kind of like 2.0. That's a little bit better for my skin color. So even though I have a lot of red, is that you would think Modern Renaissance would have worked for my skin complexion, but for me, it was just like, this ain't it. But I love this. And the shimmers across, oh my gosh, they're absolutely gorgeous multi-chromes. I definitely will repurchase this. All right, coming in at number 28, and I think I purchased another couple of small palettes with this. It would be the Shall We Misty Witch palette. So I'm just going to throw a picture here because she has not arrived yet. So it was a pre-order. It was at the beginning of November. It was supposed to ship out at the end of November. And I guess she ran into some issues. The first batch started going out to the people who actually live in China, where this company is based out of. And they said it was some issues with the closure of the palette, and they said it was also some issues with the shade. Now, I've never tried this brand before, but my friend Jamila has tried this brand, and I've been very interested in this brand. And they also kind of remind me of a little bit of Tammy Tenuka, if I was to just be a little bit honest, and because they have regular palettes and mini palettes like Tammy does, but it's not here yet, so she's been added to my collection. The money's been spent, and I'm like, where is my stuff? Yes, she's supposed to be shipping it out soon, but y'all see that video in 24 when it gets here. But the color story was like, that's what made me push the button. I was like, yes, this is the palette I'm going to get. And then she was having a sale, and my friend Jamila said she liked the other little mini palettes, so I probably really have 3 more I should probably add to this list. I can't even remember at the moment, but I went in for the code for the Misty Witch palette. That's what I went in for, okay? Now at 29, we have this baby right here, honey. Yes, if I didn't receive this in PR, yes, I would repurchase this palette. Absolutely, for sure. No doubt about it, okay? So, you know, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous color story. I've had so much fun with it, even though it's only been like 2.5 weeks since I've had the palette, but I'm like, this was a solid Q4 release. You know, it's always Q4. Q4 be coming through, you know? So I'm really enjoying this. And then number 30 is the Cold Moon palette. So I said I figure I include it here because I did buy this palette in the year of 23. It released the day after Christmas, so I have not received it yet. So I am really, really looking forward to it because I love my Harvest Moon, and I'm really looking forward to working with those particular tones. And I don't feel like I have all of those in my collection, and I am really looking forward to this palette. So I can't wait for it to get in my little hands. Yes. And oh, let me just pop another picture. Number 31. She ran into some issues, and I haven't purchased from this brand in such a long time, but I know she's been having some great releases with like the Fall Magic and the Sorcerer's Dreamer palette, I want to say it's called. Well, it was like, or Sorcerer's Smoke. And that palette is really on my radar, so I might pull the plug and get it. But this is the Unearthly Cosmetics Dreamer palette, and I ordered it quite a while, like in the first round of pre-orders from November, but I know there is an issue with her receiving the product from the manufacturer, so I can't wait to play with that palette too. So that is something that you will see in 2024 as well. Or we're already in 24 when this video comes out. Y'all know what I mean. Palette number 32, I will absolutely purchase. Solid fourth quarter release. I've had so much fun with it in the past 2 weeks as well. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? I absolutely would repurchase this palette. Like, everything. And in this particular palette, I don't have anything bad to say about the mattes. The mattes are matting. The pastels are showing up. They're not chalky. They're not ashy. They're not too much white. When you blend them out, they are perfect. And these shades are just beautiful. Stunning purple. So if you don't like purples and blues and a little hint of pink, this might not be for you. But oh my gosh. I think this is like a beautiful, beautiful color story. I was very excited to see this. So I absolutely will repurchase that palette. Now, number 33 was actually given to me in PR, but this was definitely on my radar. This is the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette. And I do really like this palette. I would repurchase this, and I have used it again because I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go in with this fire shade, and it turned out to be really pretty and nice look. Did I film it in a palette rotation? It might be. Did I wear this for Christmas? I don't even remember. I may have. Or did I wear Tasha here? I remember wearing that too. I don't remember. But I would repurchase this palette. I have been having fun with this palette, and these particular ends of the palette does help to play up and to give you some definition to the crease or anything like that if you're looking for that particular definition if you're a deeper skin complexion. So yes, I would purchase this palette if I didn't receive it in PR. Number 34 is a gift from the beautiful Natalia Lareva, and she gave this to us when we were at dinner in Vegas for the Creators and Friends event. This is really pretty. I would purchase this. I was actually looking at it at Sephora, and she popped up with it later on, so I would get this palette. The performance was really nice. The longevity was really nice. The shimmers are shimming. The mattes are matting. This one is just kind of like lays the groundwork, I guess. But these two do pop up really nice on my skin complexion. If you want to see me use this palette, I used it in the Get Ready With Me for the Creators and Friends video, but I would purchase this palette. Like, Lady Gaga, yeah, you're doing some good things there. And let's see, we have... Looking at my list, we got Klarity Kosmetics Komodo palette coming in at number 35. This was a Black Friday release for them. They had two palettes. I opted just to get this one, and I will repurchase it. I haven't had a chance to film with it because it just arrived within the last 2 weeks also, but I have used this palette, and I've used it twice actually, and oh my gosh. Do you see this color story? First of all, this is what I'm talking about with Klarity. Like, these color stories are just so innovative. I've also just worn this shade across the lid with like nothing else, just like an ethereal shimmer. Let's see. Oh, I wore this shade to work the other day. I'm going to try it again because I do remember when I played with the mattes, when I wore the palette last week to work, I was like, ooh. This matte really was kind of, I think this one, it was kind of giving me some trouble. I don't know. I feel like the brushes I were using were a little bit too soft to grab the product. So I do plan on using this again and figuring it out what's going on. Yeah, I should be doing a video on this. Yeah, so look out for that. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh, for number 36, we have the Melt Fatally Yours. I love this. I've been using it and I've been dipping into the mattes, and oh, it goes well with the theme. We can appreciate melt keeping with the theme. I haven't had any trouble with this. I know a lot of people, I've seen it, it's been patchy. I know I've seen it with my own eyes. I would repurchase this palette. I saw Tina's video and it was patch city, baby. It was patchy. But on me, and when I did my video, I didn't have any trouble with it. When I've been wearing it, it's been fine, not an issue. I definitely would repurchase this palette again. This made me very excited to purchase something from Melt this year because I feel like their year has been a little lackluster. They've been on a downward spiral for quite a while now. I'm worried about you. But I would repurchase this palette again. I really do like it. And last but not least, we have the Cosmic Brushes Winter Wonderland palette. Right now, I'm a little iffy about it. I will honestly say, like, this is my first time trying Cosmic Brushes. I haven't done a video on this because it kind of came in when, you know, these three were coming in, and then we had the Element 115 and the Beauty, the Blends Bunny Machina palette come in, and I was traveling during a week in December and just busy, holidays, working, all of et cetera. But I did wear this palette to work, okay? And I did do a really pretty look, but this shade did not work for me. And I want to say, what other shade? It was another, was it? I feel like, was it even this shade worked? I'm not even sure. I don't think it really worked either. I think where I got my transition shade was from here. So I'm kind of on the fence. I think honestly for me, I probably would not have repurchased this palette because I love the Element 115 so much. Now I know Cosmic Brushes is more affordable brand, but with the shipping, this was like $40 something, where this is in the $65 price range. But for the extra $20, I would go with this particular color story because it's practically the same for the most part. Of course, it's going to be more shimmers than the matte to ratio here, but they're very doggone similar, you know? And I would just go with the Adept formulation over this. So I would not repurchase this again. I think I still will purchase things from the brand. This is my first time even trying it. I will like take another look at the brand if something interests me. And I know a lot of people like it, but if I had to choose one or the other, I'm just going with the Element. I would just spend the extra $20. This palette is permanent. Wait for a sale or something. And yeah, that's how I feel. All right. So let's see. I think my count was that's all 37 palettes. So let's see. I got 3 palettes out of the 37 palettes that I brought into my collection that I would not repurchase. So let's see. If we add it up, give me one quick second. I'll be back. Okay. So technically, I have 7 palettes that I've either received in PR or as a gift. So out of my own money, I have only purchased 30 palettes for the year. And it sounds like a lot, but you know how we do. So it's not that bad. And out of those 30 palettes, 3 of them, I'm like, nah, okay? So that's not that bad. So if we have, you know, so we got 30, so we got 27 out of 30 that I would keep. So we're at a 90% average of what I've brought in that I'm like, yes, out of my own money. Yes, okay? Now we have 1 palette that I got in PR, which is this boy right here. And I'm like, I'm super on the fence. Like I like it, but I'm like, at the same time, I don't know, you know? So that's interesting. And then technically, if you want to be like, let's see, I got actually only 28 palettes in my collection because I got 2 that are sitting out there on a pre-order. Well, actually 20, what did I say, 28? We're actually really at 27 because I got the Cold Moon palette that I have not received yet. That's not a pre-order. And then I have the two other palettes, which would be the Unearthly Dreamer and the Shall We Witsy Witch, that I have not received in PR. So overall, I think I have done well. I think I have really reined it in. And for me, I'm always like, yeah, quarter four. It's always quarter four. Well, quarter one had some hits though, because literally, like, you know, the Inspired palette, a hit in quarter one. And yeah, it was some hits. I'm looking at my list. Like, you got the Blend Bunny, Laura, and the Moon, the Shroud, Moonfall. Definitely a hit for quarter one, because usually in the January and the February and the Marches, sometimes we don't have that many exciting releases, but definitely when we get to the fall half. And then for me, the summer is just like, but I'm really happy about what I brought into my collection. So let's figure out how I did versus last year. All right, so for last year, I did well, okay? So when I brought in 37, but I actually only brought in 30. And let's see, in 2022, I'll put the videos down below in the links from the previous years. I brought in 39 palettes last year, okay? And let's see, only like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 were in PR. So yeah, so technically I brought in 36. So I did better. Yes, and now let's look at 2021. How did your girl do there? I remember with 21. Oh, that was a hot mess. 21. I brought in 65 palettes in 21. So I have been sick, child. It's only 52 weeks of the year. So literally, I'm bringing in more palettes than there are weeks in the year in 21. So I have done well, okay? Yeah. Yeah. But there was some good palette. I'm looking. Yeah, that was also the year I discovered the Glam Shop Poland, and I bought up like everything they had. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so I definitely did a lot better. Do we have a 2020 list? Yeah, I think that list is like handwritten, so we don't really have that information at the moment. But I'm excited to see my progress. I'm excited to see what next year holds, because like I said, I like to bring in things that are a little bit more curated in my collection. I'm not interested in buying any and everything just to try it. And, you know, frankly, after a while, it gets just downright expensive. And who has time? So yes, so let me know how you feel about this video. How many palettes did you bring into your collection in the year of 2023? Do you have any goals to modify? I never really start off with any goals, but I'm just like, you know, I want to kind of keep my list a little shorter, compact. I don't know if I need to bring in less, but if I brought in the same amount next year, I'll be okay. But I'm happy with what I brought in. So let me know down below, leave a comment, give this video a big old thumbs up, hit the notification bell so you know I come out with another video, which will be soon, and subscribe to my channel, because you know I would love to have you here in my little makeup family, and we are growing and we are thriving. So yes, let's go on. Let's hit 6K if we haven't already hit it by now. So with all of that said, please subscribe to my channel. I think I just said that. What am I doing? Well, with all of that being said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the Chat Dance. Hey, 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 Chat Dance. Chat Dance. Hey, Chat Dance. All right, y'all. Bye.